Alright, picture this. It's a golden Saturday afternoon in Maple Grove, a sleepy little suburb just outside Charlotte, North Carolina, where the streets are lined with tidy lawns and picket fences that scream, American dream. The air's thick with the smell of charcoal and ribs sizzling on a grill, and you can hear the bass of a Stevie Wonder track bumping from a Bluetooth speaker. This ain't just any backyard, it's the Johnson's place, a cozy brick house on Elm Street, where the family's throwing their annual summer barbecue. Kids are chasing each other with water guns, aunties are cackling over sweet tea, and neighbors are piling plates with cornbread and collards. It's the kind of scene that makes you want to pull up a chair and stay a while, you know. Now, let me introduce you to the Johnsons. There's Marcus, the dad, a high school math teacher with a laugh that fills the block, flipping burgers like he's auditioning for a Food Network show. His wife, Lena, is the heart of the party, her braids swinging as she refills lemonade pitchers, her voice warm as she greets everyone by name. Their daughter, Amara, 16, is sneaking extra mac and cheese, her phone propped up, snapping pics for her Insta story with the hashtag Johnson Barbecue. And then there's Uncle Ray, Marcus's older brother, spinning stories about his days as a firefighter, his graying beard twitching with every punchline. The backyard's packed, friends, cousins, neighbors like Mrs. Clara from next door, who brought her famous peach cobbler, and Jamal, the local barber, who's losing a cornhole game but won't admit it. It's all love, all community, until you glance across the street at the house with the too perfect lawn and the "no soliciting" sign. That's where Karen Whitaker lives, the neighbor nobody invites but everybody knows. Karen's in her 50s, her blonde bob always pristine, her eyes always watching. She's the type who complains about kids' bikes on the sidewalk, who emails the HOA about untrimmed hedges, who clutches her purse a little tighter when Marcus jogs by. Nobody says it out loud, but Karen's got a problem with the Johnsons being, well, black in Maple Grove. She's never said it outright, but her glares, her noise complaints, her way of crossing the street when Lena waves, they say plenty. Today, Karen's at her window, her curtains twitching, her phone already in hand. The music's a bit loud, sure, and the kids are shrieking, but it's a barbecue, not a rave. Most folks would smile, maybe grab a plate, but not Karen. She's dialing, her voice low, sharp, telling the 911 operator about a disturbance, about those people making her feel unsafe. The Johnsons don't know it yet, but trouble's on its way, wearing a badge and flashing lights. And Karen? She's about to learn a lesson she didn't sign up for, one that's gonna make her wish she'd just stayed inside. Let's dive back into that scorching Saturday afternoon in Maple Grove, where the Johnsons' backyard barbecue is in full swing, and trouble's brewing faster than Lena's sweet tea. The air's thick with the smoky tang of ribs and the thump of Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On" spilling from the Bluetooth speaker. Kids are darting through sprinklers, their squeals mixing with the clink of mason jars and Uncle Ray's booming laugh as he recounts another firefighter tale. Marcus Johnson is at the grill, his apron splattered with barbecue sauce, tossing a wink at Lena as she weaves through the crowd, refilling plates and hugging neighbors like their family. Amara's perched on a picnic table, her phone glowing as she scrolls through her Insta story, her latest post, hashtag Johnson Barbecue with a clip of her dad's goofy dance, racking up likes. It's a vibe, pure joy, the kind of day that makes you forget the world's sharp edges. But across the street, Karen Whitaker's got her own agenda, and it's about to crash this party like a storm nobody saw coming. Karen's still at her window, her blonde bob barely moving as she grips her phone, her 911 call already in motion. "Yes, officer, it's a disturbance," she's saying, her voice tight, clipped, like she's reporting a crime scene instead of a family cookout. They're playing loud music, there's a crowd, it's unsettling. I don't feel safe. She pauses, glancing at the Johnsons' yard, her lips thinning as she spots Marcus laughing with Jamal, the barber, over a game of cornhole. "You need to send someone now," she insists, hanging up, her eyes narrowing. To Karen, this isn't just a barbecue, it's a challenge to her idea of Maple Grove, a place where folks like her set the rules, and folks like the Johnsons don't quite fit. Back in the yard, nobody's clocking Karen's scheming. Lena's passing out slices of Mrs. Clara's peach cobbler, her braids catching the sunlight as she teases Uncle Ray about his third helping. "You're gonna need a bigger belt, Ray," she says, and he waves her off, his firefighters grin wide. Amara's filming again, panning over the crowd, her voice narrating, "Best barbecue ever, y'all." Her feed's blowing up, friends from school, cousins from out of town, even her art teacher liking the post. But then she spots something, her camera pausing, a flash of red and blue lights down the street, faint but growing closer. "Hold up," she mutters, zooming in, her stomach twisting. She hops off the table, weaving through the crowd to Marcus. "Dad, cops are coming." Marcus freezes, his tongs hovering over the grill, his laugh fading. He glances at Lena, who's already moving toward him, her smile gone, her eyes sharp with the kind of instinct that kicks in when you've lived through too many routine stops. The music's still playing, but the vibe shifts, a ripple of unease spreading through the guests. Uncle Ray sets down his plate, his firefighter's instincts flaring, while Mrs. Clara, next door's matriarch, mutters, "Not again." Jamal straightens, his cornhole beanbag forgotten, his voice low. "What now?" "We're just eating." Amara's phone is still recording, her live stream now active, her followers, hundreds, then thousands, tuning in, comments popping up, "What's happening? Why cops at a barbecue?" Two police cruisers pull up, their lights flashing but sirens off, parking right in front of the Johnsons' house. The crowd quiets, kids pausing mid-sprint, water guns drooping. Four officers step out, two young, one middle-aged, one older, their hands resting casually on their belts, their faces unreadable behind sunglasses. The lead officer, a stocky guy named Officer Daniels, scans the yard, his voice calm but firm. "We got a call about a disturbance," he says, his eyes flicking to Marcus, who steps forward, his apron still on, his hands open, empty. "Disturbance?" Marcus says, his voice steady, though Lena's hand on his arm tightens. "This is our family barbecue. We've had it every year for a decade. No trouble here, officer." Lena nods, her voice warm but edged. "Everyone's welcome, just neighbors and friends. You want a plate?" She gestures to the grill, a peace offering, but Daniels doesn't smile, his gaze shifting to the crowd, the music, the kids. Across the street, Karen's door creaks open, and she steps onto her porch, her arms crossed, her face smug. Amara's camera catches her, the live stream now at 5,000 viewers, comments raging, "It's that neighbor. She called the cops." Karen calls out, her voice shrill, "Officer, I reported this. They're too loud, it's unsafe, you need to shut it down." The crowd murmurs, some turning to glare at Karen, others whispering, phones filming her now, too. Mrs. Clara shakes her head, muttering, "Same old Karen," while Uncle Ray's jaw tightens, his firefighter days reminding him of too many calls like this. Daniels raises a hand, silencing Karen, his tone professional. "Ma'am, we'll handle it. Stay there." He turns back to Marcus, his voice neutral. "We need to check IDs, make sure everything's in order. Any permits for this gathering?" Marcus's eyes narrow, but he keeps his cool, his teacher's patience kicking in. "Permits? It's a backyard barbecue, officer. We've never needed one." Lena steps up, her voice firm. "We're on our property, breaking no laws. You're welcome to look around." The younger officer, a rookie named Carter, shifts uncomfortably, glancing at his partner, while the older one, Officer Reed, mutters something about procedure. Amara's stream hits 10,000 viewers, her captions flashing, "Cops at our barbecue for no reason." Comments pour in, "This is BS. Karen's racist." Jamal pulls out his phone, filming too, his voice low but clear. "Y'all see this? We can't even eat in peace." Kayla, the freshman from the courtyard, now in the crowd with her mom, whispers, "That's Zara's family," her phone out, sharing Amara's stream. Karen, emboldened, steps off her porch, marching closer, her voice rising. "They're always like this. Loud, disruptive, making the neighborhood unsafe." She points at Marcus, Lena, the kids, her words dripping with venom. The crowd bristles, Mrs. Clara snapping, "You're the only one causing trouble, Karen." Uncle Ray moves forward, his voice deep, calm but commanding. "Ma'am, you need to go home. This is our family, our home." Karen flinches, but doubles down, turning to Daniels. "Do your job. Arrest them." Daniel sighs, his hand on his radio, but before he can speak, a third cruiser pulls up, this one unmarked, its door swinging open. A man steps out, tall, broad-shouldered, his dark skin catching the sun, his police uniform crisp, the badge on his chest gleaming, Chief of Police. The crowd goes silent, phones zooming in, Amara's stream hitting 20,000 viewers, comments exploding, "Who's that? Chief's here." Karen's smugness falters, her arms dropping, her eyes widening as the man strides toward the yard, his presence a thunderclap. Chief David Johnson, Marcus's cousin, the family's quiet pride, removes his sunglasses, his eyes sweeping over the scene, landing on Karen, then Daniels, then Marcus. "What's going on here?" he says, his voice low, authoritative, but warm, like he's stepping into his own living room. Amara's camera shakes, her voice whispering, "That's Uncle Dave." The crowd murmurs, phones capturing the moment, and Karen's face pales, her phone slipping in her hand. She's about to learn who she's messed with, and Maple Grove will never be the same. Alright, let's jump back into that sweltering Saturday afternoon in Maple Grove, where the Johnsons' backyard barbecue has just been turned upside down by Karen Whitaker's 911 call and the arrival of not just cops, but the chief of police himself, David Johnson, Marcus's cousin. The air's thick with the smell of ribs and tension, the sun blazing down on the concrete courtyard where the Johnsons' house is now ground zero for a showdown nobody saw coming. Stevie Wonder's still crooning from the Bluetooth speaker, but the vibe's shifted, kids have stopped running, water guns drooping, and the grown-ups are exchanging looks that say they've seen this script before. Amara's phone is shaking in her hands, her live stream now at 30,000 viewers, hashtags like #JusticeAtTheBBQ and #Karen vs BBQ blowing up across social media. Phones are out everywhere, capturing every second, and Karen. She's standing on the edge of the Johnsons' lawn, her blonde bob trembling, her face pale as she realizes the man stepping out of that unmarked cruiser isn't just any cop, he's family. Buckle up, because this is about to get wild. Chief David Johnson strides across the street, his police uniform crisp, his badge catching the sunlight like a warning. He's a big man, 6'2", with a presence that quiets the crowd without a word. His dark skin glows under the sun, his eyes hidden behind sunglasses, but you can feel the weight of his gaze as it sweeps over the scene, Karen clutching her phone, Officer Daniels and his crew looking uneasy, Marcus and Lena standing firm by the grill, Uncle Ray with his arms crossed, Mrs. Clara muttering under her breath, and Amara's camera catching it all. The other officers, Daniels, Reed, Carter, and a rookie named Lopez, straighten up, their hands dropping from their belts, sensing the shift. The crowd, maybe 50 strong now, murmurs, phones raised, some whispering, "That's the chief," while others, like Jamal the barber, nod in recognition, his own phone filming, his voice low, "That's Dave, all right." David removes his sunglasses, hooking them on his collar, his eyes landing on Daniels first. "Report," he says, his voice deep, calm, but with an edge that makes Daniels swallow hard. Daniels clears his throat, his tone professional but rushed. "Sir, we got a call about a disturbance, loud music, large gathering, possible safety concerns. We're checking IDs, ensuring compliance." He gestures to the yard, where the BBQ's still smoldering, kids huddled near Lena, Marcus's apron splattered with sauce but his hands steady. Karen steps forward, her voice shrill, cutting in. "Chief, I called. These people are out of control, blaring music, blocking the street, making everyone feel unsafe." She waves her phone, as if it's evidence, her eyes darting to the crowd, expecting support, but finding only glares and shaking heads. David's gaze shifts to Karen, slow and deliberate, like he's sizing up a puzzle he's solved before. "Unsafe," he says, his voice low, almost curious. "Ma'am, you're saying a family barbecue, on their own property, makes you feel unsafe?" The crowd murmurs, some snickering, Mrs. Clara muttering, "Lord, give me strength." Amara's stream hits 50,000 viewers, her captions flashing, Karen's wilding. Comments pour in, "She's lying. Chief's not having it." Karen flushes, her arms crossing tighter, her voice rising. "It's not just today. They're always loud, always different. Someone needs to do something." The word "different" lands like a stone, and the crowd bristles, Jamal's camera zooming in, Kayla's mom, standing nearby, whispering, "Same old nonsense." Marcus steps forward, his voice calm, teacher-trained, but firm. "Chief, we've had this barbecue every year for 10 years. Never had a complaint till she moved in." He nods at Karen, his eyes steady. "We're breaking no laws, got no permits, 'cause we don't need 'em. You're welcome to join us, though." He gestures to the grill, a faint smile breaking through, and Lena nods, her braids swaying, her voice warm. "Plenty of ribs to go around, sir." The crowd chuckles, some clapping, phones capturing the moment, Amara's stream now at 75,000, comments like, "Love the Johnsons," flooding in. David's lips twitch, a hint of a smile, but his focus stays on Daniels. "You check the situation?" he asks, his tone neutral but pointed. Daniels nods, glancing at his notes. "No violations observed, sir. Music's within legal limits, no street obstruction, no weapons or alcohol issues." Carter, the rookie, pipes up, his voice hesitant. "Seems like a family event, Chief. No cause for concern." Reed, the older officer, stays silent, his eyes on Karen, who's now fidgeting, her confidence cracking under David's scrutiny. Karen snaps, her voice pitching higher. "This is ridiculous. You're all protecting them. I pay taxes, I deserve to feel safe." She points at David, her finger trembling. "You're the chief, do your job." The crowd gasps, phones zooming in, Amara's stream hitting 100,000 viewers, comments raging, "She did not just say that. Karen's done." David raises an eyebrow, his voice dropping, a quiet storm brewing. "Ma'am, my job is to serve this community, all of it. You called my officers over a barbecue. You tell me, what's the real problem here?" The courtyard goes silent, the music fading as someone lowers the speaker, kids clinging to Lena, Uncle Ray stepping closer, his firefighters calm masking his anger. Mrs. Clara calls out, "It's the same problem she's got with me, with Jamal, with anyone who don't look like her." The crowd murmurs, some shouting agreement, phones capturing Karen's face, now red with fury and fear. Jamal's video, shared alongside Amara's, shows the crowd's outrage, his captions reading, "Maple Grove ain't having this." Kayla's mom steps up, her voice clear. "She called the HOA on my son for skateboarding last month. It's not about noise, it's about us." Karen stammers, her voice breaking. That's not true. I just want order, rules. But her words drown in the crowd's boos, phones filming her retreat, her eyes darting to David, pleading for rescue. David shakes his head, his voice steady, addressing the officers. Daniels, Reed, Carter, Lopez, clear the area, send folks back to the party. I'll handle this. The officers nod, moving to disperse the crowd, but phones stay up, Amara's stream now at 200,000, hashtags trending nationwide. Daniels hesitates, glancing at Karen. Ma'am, you need to go home, he says, his tone firm, and she flinches, her phone slipping to the grass. David turns to Marcus, his voice softening, a family warmth breaking through. "Cuz, sorry about this mess," he says, clapping Marcus's shoulder. "Y'all keep grilling. I'll take care of it." Marcus nods, a grin breaking through, and Lena smiles, her hand squeezing his. "You want a plate, Dave?" she asks, and the crowd laughs, the tension easing, phones capturing the moment, Amara's stream showing David's nod. "Save me some cobbler," he says, winking, and the Johnsons' guests cheer, some clapping, others heading back to the yard, the music kicking up again, Marvin Gaye's voice rising. But David's not done. He turns to Karen, his voice low, official. "Mrs. Whitaker, false reports waste police resources. That's a misdemeanor. You want to explain your call?" Karen's face crumples, her voice a whisper. I just thought," but she trails off, her eyes darting to the crowd, the phones, the chief's unyielding gaze. Amara's stream hits 500,000, comments like, "Get her, chief," flooding in, her captions reading, "Uncle Dave's shutting it down." Jamal's video, now viral too, shows Karen's retreat, his voice narrating, "This is what happens when you mess with the Johnsons." Ms. Carter, the assistant principal, arrives, alerted by Kayla's texts, her clipboard in hand, her eyes narrowing at Karen. "Mrs. Whitaker, we've had complaints about you harassing families. This stops now." The crowd roars, phones capturing Karen's stunned silence, her retreat to her porch, her door slamming shut. David nods to Ms. Carter, his voice low. "We'll follow up. No charges today, but she's on notice." Ms. Carter agrees, turning to Marcus and Lena. "You folks all right?" Lena nods, her voice warm. "We're good, thanks to family." She glances at David, who smiles, heading back to his cruiser, the crowd parting, phones still filming. The barbecue resumes, the music louder, the kids running again, but the air's different, charged with victory, with community. Amara's stream, now at 1 million, shows the Johnsons laughing, dancing, Uncle Ray raising a glass, Mrs. Clara dishing out cobbler. Comments pour in, "This is love. Chief Johnson's a legend." The hashtags #justice at the BBQ and #no room for racism trend globally, a spark of change igniting. But the real fire's in the yard, where the Johnsons and their neighbors stand stronger, and Karen's about to face a reckoning she never saw coming. Have you ever seen a community come together like this to shut down hate? Drop your story in the comments with #no room for racism, I'm reading every one. Okay, we're back in the thick of that Maple Grove madness, where the Johnsons' backyard barbecue has turned into a full-on showdown that's got the whole neighborhood, and half the internet, losing their minds. The sun's dipping low now, painting the Charlotte suburb in shades of orange, but the heat's still on, and I don't just mean the ribs sizzling on Marcus's grill. Chief David Johnson, Marcus's cousin and the top cop in town, has just shut down Karen Whitaker's attempt to ruin the party with her 911 call, leaving her stammering on the edge of the Johnsons' lawn, her blonde bob wilting under the weight of 100 phone cameras. Amara's live stream is blowing up, hitting 2 million views, with hashtags like #justice at the BBQ and #no room for racism trending worldwide. The crowd's buzzing, kids are peeking from behind Lena's skirt, and Uncle Ray's got that firefighter's grin, like he's seen justice served hotter than the hot sauce. Karen's porch door is still echoing from her retreat, but this story's far from over. She's about to get a lesson that'll shake her picket fence world. Chief David stands in the Johnsons' yard, his police uniform crisp despite the heat, his badge glinting like it's got a story of its own. He's talking low with Marcus and Lena, his voice warm, family style, but his eyes keep flicking to Karen's house, where the curtains are twitching again. "Y'all good to keep the party going?" he asks, clapping Marcus's shoulder. Marcus nods, his barbecue-stained apron a badge of his own, his grin wide. "Long as you save room for Clara's cobbler, Dave." Lena laughs, her braids bouncing, handing David a lemonade. "You know we don't stop for nonsense," she says, her eyes sharp but kind, glancing at the crowd, Jamal still filming, Mrs. Clara dishing out plates, Kayla and her mom nodding in support. But the crowd's not dispersing, not with phones still up. Amara's stream now at 3 million, her captions screaming, "Uncle Dave's a legend." Comments are flying, "Chief Johnson for president." Karen's cancelled. She pans to Karen's porch, where the neighbor's peeking out, her face pale, her phone probably burning up with notifications from her HOA group chat. Ms. Carter, the assistant principal, is still there, her clipboard a shield, her eyes locked on Karen's house like she's piecing together a puzzle. "This ain't her first rodeo," she mutters to Jamal, who nods, his video syncing with Amara's, showing the crowd's mix of outrage and triumph. David turns to the officers, Daniels, Reed, Carter, Lopez, who are lingering by their cruisers, looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. "Y'all wrap this up," he says, his voice firm but not harsh. "No citations, no reports. This was a false call." Daniels nods, his sunglasses hiding his relief, but Reed, the older cop, hesitates, glancing at Karen. "Sir, she's insisting on a formal complaint," he says, low, like he's testing the waters. David's eyebrow arches, his voice dropping. "She wants to complain. Let her try. I'll handle it." The officers scatter, guiding stragglers back to the barbecue, but phones stay up, capturing David's every move, Amara's stream showing his calm like it's a superpower. Karen's door swings open again, and she marches out, her face red, her phone raised like a weapon. "This isn't over," she shouts, her voice cracking, aiming at David. "You can't ignore me. I'm a taxpayer, I have rights." The crowd bristles, Mrs. Clara snapping, "So do we, honey." Jamal's camera zooms in, his voice narrating, "She's at it again, y'all." Amara's stream hits 5 million, her followers, now global, commenting, "She's digging her own grave. Chief's too smooth." Karen points at the Johnsons' yard, her finger trembling. "They're a menace. You're all biased, protecting your own." The word "own" lands like a bomb, and the crowd gasps, phones zooming in, Lena's eyes narrowing, Marcus stepping forward, his voice low, teacher calm. "Say what you mean, Karen." David raises a hand, silencing the crowd, his gaze locking on Karen, his voice like steel wrapped in velvet. "Mrs. Whitaker, you're treading on dangerous ground," he says, stepping closer, his badge catching the fading light. "You called my officers over a family gathering, claimed you felt unsafe, but the only disturbance here is your call. You want to talk bias? Let's talk." He gestures to the yard, kids eating ribs, aunties dancing, neighbors sharing cobbler. "This is Maple Grove. These are my people, my family, my community. You got a problem with that, you're the one who doesn't belong." The crowd roars, clapping, some shouting, "Preach," and "Tell her, Chief." Amara's stream hits 10 million, her captions flashing, Uncle Dave dropping truth. Comments explode, "This is iconic." Karen's finished. Kayla's mom cheers, her phone up, while Jamal's video shows the crowd's unity, his captions reading, Maple Grove stands together. Karen stumbles back, her phone dropping, her face crumpling as the crowd's boos drown her out. "You can't talk to me like that," she shrieks, but her voice is lost, her authority shattered under the weight of David's words and the community's defiance. Ms. Carter steps up, her clipboard down, her voice cutting through. "Mrs. Whitaker, you've been warned before, harassing neighbors, filing false reports. This ends today." She turns to David, her eyes firm. "Chief, I'll coordinate with the HOA, document this." "She's on notice." David nods, his voice low. "Appreciate it, Ms. Carter. We'll follow up." Karen's eyes dart between them, her breath hitching, her retreat halted by the crowd's phones, now a wall of accountability. She turns to run back to her house, but David's voice stops her cold. "One more thing," he says, his tone almost gentle, but deadly serious. "You ever pull this again, you'll face more than a warning. You understand?" Karen nods, her face ashen, and bolts for her porch, her door slamming, the curtain still. The crowd erupts, cheering, some hugging, others high-fiving, phones capturing the moment, Amara's stream showing Marcus and Lena embracing, Uncle Ray raising a glass, Mrs. Clara dishing out more cobbler. Jamal's video, now viral, pans to the kids running again, the music kicking up, Marvin Gaye's voice soaring. Comments flood in, "Justice served. Love this family." The hashtags #justice at the BBQ and #no room for racism trend globally, a movement born in a backyard. David turns to the Johnsons, his grin breaking through, family first. "Y'all save me that cobbler," he asks, and Lena laughs, handing him a plate piled high. "Always, Dave," she says, her eyes shining. Marcus claps his back, his voice low. "Thanks, cuz. Means a lot." Amara zooms in, her stream showing David digging in, the crowd cheering, her captions reading, "Barbecue back on." The officers, Daniels, Reed, Carter, Lopez, linger, some smiling, Carter even grabbing a lemonade, their cruisers fading into the background as the party resumes, stronger than ever. Ms. Carter pulls Marcus and Lena aside, her voice low. "We'll handle Karen. She's crossed too many lines." Lena nods, her hand on Marcus's. "We just want peace," she says, and Ms. Carter smiles, her eyes firm. "You'll get it. We're with you." She glances at Amara, still streaming, and winks. "Keep that camera ready, kid." Amara grins, her stream now at 15 million, a spark that's lit a fire across the internet, showing the world what community looks like when it stands together. The BBQ's back in full swing, the music louder, the laughter deeper, but the real victory's in the air. Maple Grove's not just a suburb anymore, it's a statement. Karen's locked in her house, her HOA dreams crumbling, and the Johnsons. They're dancing, eating, loving, proving that no call, no hate, can stop their shine. But this ain't the end, something bigger's brewing, and Karen's about to find out just how deep this community runs. Alright, let's wrap this up in Maple Grove, where the Johnsons' backyard barbecue has become the talk of the town, and the internet, after Chief David Johnson shut down Karen Whitaker's attempt to ruin the day with her racist 911 call. The sun's gone down now, the Charlotte sky a deep purple, but the party's still alive, string lights twinkling over the Johnsons' yard, Marvin Gaye's voice fading into a slow jam. The ribs are long gone, but Mrs. Clara's peach cobbler's still flowing, and the crowd's vibe is pure triumph, kids dancing, aunties laughing, neighbors swapping stories like they've been family forever. Amara's live stream is a global phenomenon, clocking 20 million views, with hashtags #justice at the BBQ and #no room for racism topping charts. Karen's locked away in her house, her curtains still, her HOA dreams in tatters. But this ain't just about one day, it's about a community that stood tall, and the ripple effects just getting started. Inside the Johnsons' living room, Marcus and Lena sit with Chief David, their mason jars sweating in the warm air. Amara sprawled on the couch, her phone buzzing with notifications, her Insta flooded with messages from strangers calling her a hero. Uncle Ray's outside, holding court with Jamal and Mrs. Clara, his firefighter tales now mixed with pride for his nephew, the chief. David leans back, his police uniform unbuttoned at the collar, a plate of cobbler in hand. "Y'all threw one hell of a party," he says, his grin wide, "family first." Marcus chuckles, his apron off, his voice warm. "Couldn't have done it without you, Dave. You showed up right on time." Lena nods, her braids catching the light, her eyes soft but fierce. "Showed her, too. Karen's gonna think twice now. The fallout's already rolling." By Sunday, Karen's false 911 call is headline news, her face plastered across outlets from local blogs to CNN, dubbed BBQ Karen by the internet. The HOA, flooded with complaints from Mrs. Clara, Jamal, and others, votes to remove her from the board, her "no soliciting" sign now a meme. The police department issues a statement, drafted by David, condemning misuse of emergency services, and Karen faces a fine for her misdemeanor call. Social media's relentless. Amara's video hits 50 million views, sparking protests against racial profiling, with hashtag #NoRoomForRacism uniting communities online. Local businesses, inspired by the Johnsons, start BBQ Unity Days, inviting neighbors to grill together, and a tech startup offers Amara a summer internship for her viral storytelling. Back at school, Amara's a quiet legend, her classmates, Kayla included, starting an anti-bullying club, mentored by Ms. Carter. Marcus and Lena host a neighborhood watch meeting, turning Karen's unsafe claim into a call for unity, with David speaking on community policing. Uncle Ray coaches kids at the rec center, teaching them resilience, while Mrs. Clara's cobbler recipe goes viral, her bakery swamped with orders. Zara Brooks, the karate champion from down the block, drops by with her mom, sketching with Amara, their friendship born from shared fights. The Johnsons keep their door open, their barbecue a symbol of love that no hate can touch. This is what happens when a family, a community, says enough. The Johnsons didn't just grill ribs, they grilled injustice, and Chief David served it cold. Karen thought she could break them, but they built something stronger. So, what about you? Have you seen hate get shut down or stood with your people against it? Share your story with hashtag #NoRoomForRacism in the comments. I'm reading every one. If this barbecue lit a fire in you, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Let's keep cooking up a world where every backyard's a safe space, and every voice roars.